Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Les Mills review. Today we're going to be talking about Grit Cardio number 28. So we'll get the preamble out of the way. I am a Les Mills instructor. I'm also a certified personal trainer. Other than that, I have no affiliation with Les Mills whatsoever. So we'll take a look at each of the tracks from an instructor point of view and analyze how we need to break it down so that our participants can get the most out of every track. Now, we won't be playing any of the music in the background because we'll get a copyright strike on it. So we'll play some alternative music in the background, and let's just quickly run through what all the different tracks are in this release. So number one, we've got warm-up. We then have a ladder, a Tabata training track, a combination training, which is kind of two tracks in one. So it's combination training 1 and 2. An EMOM, which is every minute on the minute, another Tabata track, and we finish off with some core, which is coincidentally another ladder. Now in the background, we're going to be seeing footage from the Sizzler that Les Mills released, and we'll also include a track list to the music if you want to go and check it out. So if you don't have Grit at your particular training facility, you can have a look at the Sizzler, see what it's all about, and go and have a bit of a listen to some of the music, all provided in the links in the description below. Alrighty, let's talk warm-up. I really like how they've structured this warm-up. Often with Grit, warm-up can be chaotic. It's just a hodgepodge of moves that are sort of just seemingly picked at random. They're not. They relate to the moves that are in the release, but there's just such a smorgasbord of moves kicking around. It can be really confusing, A, to teach, and B, to follow. So I quite like this. It goes high knee runs, burpees, lateral skater. Essentially, that's it. And then you do it again, but you add layers. High knee run faster, burpee, skater with a knee lift, and then more runs. It's really simple. It takes a basic pattern, and then you do the same basic pattern again, and it builds on it. It's nice and simple. It makes it easy to also connect with your class because you're not having to think about 16 different moves and what order they come in. It's great from an instructor point of view, and it helps you connect with your class. I'm all for that. Track 2 is your ladder training. So there's two different moves, and you need to explain very clearly what the concept of 2 for 1 is. So some of these moves, in fact both these moves, when you do left and a right version, that counts as 1 rep. I tend to explain this before I even start my class. I found there's not really enough time to clearly explain this the very first time, and not all your participants will get it. I teach to quite a big class. I get anywhere from 30 to 50 gritters in my class, and not everybody will pick up straight away what the concept of 2 for 1 is. So I try and do it before my class. Look, if you're pressed for time, you've got to make do with what you can. This is really, it's good. The two moves link together quite well, so there's a nice flow between them. Les Mills even provide great options in terms of, beginner, aim for 5, intermediate, aim for 6, advanced, aim for 7+. It's good. It allows for a nice, steady pace to start with, and then once you've got the concept of how the moves link, you can really push a speed burn. The Tabata track. This is such a cool way of doing Tabata. So traditional Tabata, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. We follow that model in this track. The moves involve lunges left and right, and jumps, plank jacks, and butt kicks. What's great is in the 10 seconds off is you hold a plank. It's enough to get some oxygen in. It's also enough that you don't get enough. I really like that because I have a lot of really high level athletes that come to my Grit classes looking for that extra challenge. And for me, that's a lot of what Grit is about. It needs to be accessible for new people, but also provide that incredible challenge for athletes to supplement their training. And this does that. It allows you to, it prevents you from recovering fully so that as you push harder and harder and harder, you get less and less rest. 8 rounds, and by the end of it, I was genuinely surprised at how much of an impact having an active hold instead of just resting made. The combination training. Okay, so this is quite a complicated track. There's essentially 2 tracks smushed into one. It uses the same concept and changes the moves. So there's 4 rounds. Each round gets 5 seconds longer than the previous round. Each round adds an extra move to a series. So we'll quickly talk about the first series. It involves a lateral run sideways and back, and then a squat jump with a 180 turn, being level 1. The second time you do it, you do the same pattern, but after your squat jump 180 turn, you're going to add a burpee. The third time, you add a tuck jump to the burpee, and then the last round stays the same. So you gradually build a length in terms of working time, and then you also add up the intensity. So it gets harder on 2 fronts. Lots of recovery required. It's going to require a lot of clear coaching to really get your participants to keep pushing the burn for the longer distance and for the increased intensity. And I think it's also worth really encouraging options here. So a lot of people can't do things like tuck jumps, and I think it's really important to make it clear that you can still complete this full sequence of moves even without the tuck jump. So it can be a straight jump, you can take even a squat if push comes to shove, if they really can't get airborne. And that way you can still get people doing this full range of movements through this sequence and pushing that cardiovascular burn all the way through. So 4 rounds there forms combination training 1, and then we change all the moves up and you do another 4 rounds for combination training 2. Every minute on the minute, or EMOM. This is a CrossFit staple style workout, and a lot of people really enjoy this because this can present a genuine challenge. There is a new move in here called the burpee twist. Instructors, practice this move. It is not hard, but you'll find that you are quite coordinated on it one way, and probably, unless you've done this sort of thing before, you might struggle on your offhand. So practice it at both the high level and the low level so your participants don't freak out when they see it. This is another move that I demonstrated right before we even started the class. Participants, when they see it for the first time, often look at it and go, but won't my shoulder dislocate? Well, obviously not. But it freaks people out the first time you show it. So be very clear, do it slowly, get people to work it through with you before you do the class so that this isn't just dropped on them like a bombshell. 4 rounds. You've got to get through 3 different moves worth of work in each round, and by the last minute, most people are genuinely going to run out of time. So they're going to hit minute 3 and they probably won't get the work done, and you're going to have to really inspire and G up to get that last round out. People are going to want to slow down, and that's fine as long as you can promote the concept of try and get it done within the minute. 4 minutes, yeah, that last one, it's a push. It's a real push with this burpee twist. It's a cool new move. It works well. Most of my participants enjoyed it. Yeah, that's about not much more to say about it. It's just a genuine, hard-working track. It's great. The final Tabata track. So people are going to be looking at you with their eyes bugging out of their head by this point. So after that last EMOM, people haven't got much left in the tank. It's a simpler Tabata. It's not 2 moves linked together. You do 1 series of moves, which is a burpee jump. And then the second series of moves is a squat tuck jump. Both jumping moves, high explosion, both with height changes, and you still have to hold the plank on the 10-second inverted commas off. There's an advanced option here too to lift one leg while you hold the plank. Now people are going to be begging you for options here, so instructors, be aware of what those options are for the burpee jump and the squat tuck jump, because by this point, some of your participants are not going to be able to jump. They're just going to have nothing left in the tank. They're going to look to you for guidance, for inspiration, for something to get them through this track. Because there's still 8 rounds, and you still have to hold the plank. So you're going to have to really work to get your guys through this. People, again, I can't stress it, your athletes will thrive on the challenge. Your newer members are going to be begging you to help them through this. And finally, the core track. Well, this is a bit of a different spin on it, and that's always appreciated. Super simple. It's a ladder with oblique crunches. So you're going to do a side hover, and you're going to do 1 oblique crunch on that particular side. You flip over, face the other direction, and do 1 oblique crunch on that side. Start again. You do 2 oblique crunches on the first side, go to the second side, do 2, then you do 3 and 3 and 4 and 4 and 5 and 5, all the way up for the 90 seconds that the track runs. It's really simple. It's really effective. I found this actually gave me a really big glute burn. So you've got a high option where you can hold this side hover up on your feet. For those that need it, you can put the knee down. Having experimented with both, I found I still got a really good glute burn even with the knee on the floor, though much less of an ab workout. So encourage people to start up on the high version and then take the knee as required. And that's the new Grit Cardio 28. It's a good release. The music's spot on. Like I said, normally, grit music can be a little bit hit and miss in terms of it's sometimes a cross between techno and then like a bit of dubstep, sometimes a bit of R&B gangster. Look, on the whole, it's a serviceable mix. It's got enough energy in it to keep the tempo nice and high. There's some really awesome new moves in here. I think instructors need to be really aware of the new moves, perhaps even pre-cue them before your class, because things like that burpee twist, a lot of people will see that and they freak out thinking their shoulder's going to dislocate. And then you also need to be practiced in the moves and in your own fitness, because in the final couple of tracks, people are going to be looking to you to help them get through this release. It is very cardiovascular, and as silly as that sounds being grit cardio, I think more than other releases, this particular one works on oxygen deprivation in a big way, as opposed to some of the other ones often will focus a little bit more on the Tabata, but the Tabata in this track doesn't really give you a chance to recover. So keep that in mind. Practice it, know your own limits as well, and know how you can help your participants find and push their own. Catch you later.